Hello there. Today I'll be asking, is GB News destined to fail? Will GB News rise up the rankings like Fox News has in America? Or will it be unable to grow into the woke baiting monster it wants to be and will be culled before its prime? You're watching the Anti-Social Media YouTube channel, and I do make a series of videos called Gammon Books. As you see by this logo, it's based on the original GB News logo. As a lot of right-wingers and far-right people will be watching this video, you'll be very tempted at this point, after hearing the word gammon, to go straight to the comment section and say, why are you being so racist? Well, luckily I've made a quick instructional video for you guys called Is Gammon a Slur, a Racist Slur? And it explains very briefly and very quickly and very succinctly why it is not. While I have the attention of the gammon right now, I will say that the other thing that they do when watching my videos is leave a comment purely based on how I look. The funniest insult I received recently was being called a dishevelled Johnny Vegas. Now, 2 points. Firstly, I don't mind if people throw insults at me because it means that the people watching the videos cannot argue a single point I'm making, and they never can. It's basically a win for me. Secondly, if you're going to use the term dishevelled Johnny Vegas, then really the first word there, dishevelled, is completely redundant, isn't it? Because dishevelled is implied in the name Johnny Vegas. You can't even get insults right. But anyway, do check out all the other videos in the Gammon Box series on this channel. There's plenty there for people to catch up with. So, GB News. Can it be a success? We live in Britain where we're pessimistic about absolutely everything, especially new things, and we often don't give things a chance at all. So I think it's 50-50 whether GB News will succeed or not. However, this video is here because there's a lot of things to worry about if you're a fan of this forthcoming channel. So much so that there may be a follow-up video to this, as there's just so much information to tell you. So here are a list of reasons why fans of GB News should be shitting their pants right now. First of all, fans of GB News are making the argument that GB News exists purely because all other news sources are biased or because they are mainstream outlets which don't serve the needs for conservatives or right-wing people. However, GB News is basing itself upon a UK version of Fox News, an outlet purely for right-leaning people. So from the outset, it's going to be a biased news channel, but no one seems to acknowledge this. There's a very good chance that GB News could be a Farage-a-thon. Now, Andrew Neil is a big name signing for GB News, and he's well known for his hard-hitting interviews on, let's say it quietly, the BBC. We'll get to that issue more in a minute. But if GB News is a predominantly right-leaning broadcaster, will he go easy on his right-leaning guests, favouring to savage just left-wing politicians and left-wing commentators and left-wing ideas and opinions? If left-wing people refuse to go on this conservative broadcaster, regarding the whole process as pointless because they won't be given a fair trial, as it were, they won't be given a fair hearing, does GB News instantly turn into a safe space for right-wingers, an echo chamber if you like? Very similar to Tucker Carlson's show on Fox News. There is no dissenting voices on that programme, where balance is a foreign word for him and he doesn't like foreigners. Will GB News lose all credibility if it becomes an instant echo chamber? The second reason why GB News viewers should be shitting their pants is because many of the presenters picked for GB News have come from the dreaded mainstream media, including the BBC, which many GB News viewers absolutely despise. Some of the presenters and programmes have even been accused already of being woke before any of GB News has even been broadcast. Now, I'm not saying conservatives and the far right in particular hate women and people of colour, but when this lineup was announced for GB News, a lot of people posted angry messages about the amount of women and people of colour that they could see in the image. No, I didn't think you would be ticking boxes. Oh dear, 1 male and 5 female, not a good balance for a start. I suppose white males will soon be eradicated anyway. Good luck with the launch though, I hope it's successful. What's with all the women? It appears the gammon were hoping that literally all the presenters would also be gammon, as in angry middle-aged men of any colour, because gammon isn't race related at all, who are just angry about every fucking thing under the sun. GB News has potential of being very successful because a lot of their viewers were big fans of GMB, Good Morning Britain, on ITV, their breakfast show, which of course is famed for having, for a long period of time, Piers Morgan as one of the hosts. But according to many of those viewers, ITV has now gone woke after professional victim Piers Morgan stormed off the GMB set and never returned after someone stood up to his racism about Meghan Markle. And effectively, Piers Morgan cancelled himself in the process. He was replaced by Adil Ray, who is famed for playing a guy called Citizen Khan in a sitcom on BBC, and he shares the only redeeming feature of Piers Morgan in that he was able to stand up to people in power and give a hard-hitting interview where he really did question a lot of the corruption and bad decisions of the government and, like I say, people in power. But for some unknown reason, the Good Morning Britain viewers greatly dislike the non-white replacement of Piers Morgan, and I just can't work out why. So there must be some connection why they're also angry about this image of a selection of presenters on GB News. I mean, if anyone could give me a comment and try and make it clearer, then please do. The left-wing wokery continues on GB News by the appointment of Gloria Di Piero, not to be confused with any footballers. She's there presumably for balance. I don't think there's much to worry with Gloria personally, because I think she'll take the Dave Rubin approach to broadcasting by saying she's left-wing or was left-wing, but can only embrace every aspect of conservative culture and nothing else. The third reason why fans of GB News should be very worried indeed is the Defund the BBC problem. Now, many people are flocking to GB News after shouting "Defund the BBC" on various social networks, but many people who say that slogan are completely unaware what that slogan entails or how it can be achieved. But worse than all of that, many of the people who 100% support the Defund the BBC campaign won't actually be able to watch GB News as a result. That is absolutely a fact. But Lawrence Fox and Darren Grimes won't tell you that fact, will they? That's because the Defund the BBC campaign is one of the most shameless right-wing grifts going today. In March 2021, I made a video called "Defund the BBC is Propaganda for Morons," which angered a lot of gammon before they'd even seen the video. Now, to clarify, gammon are already angry, that's why they're gammon. But the video title and the thumbnail made them that little bit more enraged. Some of those people were temporarily able to bottle up all of those tears and tantrums because the thumbnail called them idiots, right? So they could actually press play on the video and then find out 6 reasons why the campaign was deeply flawed and an unrealistic campaign to defund the BBC. It is, like I say, a grift, 100% targeted at conservatives and the far right, and will absolutely fail. I'd argue that if you are interested in GB News and everything surrounding it, and you can stand to look and hear more of this dishevelled Johnny Vegas, then I really do ask you to go and watch this video, because it should theoretically change your mind if you're a supporter of GB News. If you're too scared to hear opinions that are different from yours, yes, continue to run a mile from those things. That's why you're possibly a GB News fan. You don't like balance. But for everyone else, if you're interested in why it's such a stupid campaign, do check out the video. Links will be at the end of this video and in the description box below. Now, out of the 6 points I raised in this video, 2 stand out completely. Firstly, this one about the government. The government dictates the licence fee, how much it is and how long it goes on for. TV licence fee, preferred option for funding until 2038, right? So it's currently scheduled to run to 2028. But the MPs want to increase it by another 10 years. Reason being is there's no good reason, there's no other options that have been put on the table for funding the BBC in any other way. That includes a subscription model. People who say defund the BBC should actually be angry at Tories for the price and structure of the licence fee. But because the campaign is run by people who vote and promote conservative politics, such as the people you see on your screen now, a real one that stands out there is Darren Grimes. Because of their politics, they would never acknowledge that the government is to blame for the licence fee. So to clarify, thanks to government ineptitude, many of the people who are screaming to fund the BBC will have to wait 17 years before they can even start making any changes and making any progress with that campaign. 17 years. Another big point from the video is this.
The defund part of Defund the BBC basically means they don't want the licence fee anymore and would rather have a subscription model, which of course is not actually defunding the BBC. It still keeps the BBC in service, but just in a different way.
However, that video wasn't perfect because I thought that giving 6 reasons why that grift is propaganda for idiots and how it would fail would be enough for most people. But it turns out I could have added 3 more humongous reasons to back up my case. The first big reason is the argument that people are forced to pay for the licence fee or end up in jail, which is no longer applicable. Saying you're forced is a ridiculous complaint as it is, because you can choose not to pay the TV licence. However, if you're then caught watching live TV without a licence, the greatest penalty you can receive nowadays is a fine of £1,000, or in the future they're thinking about reducing that to £500. So really, fuck all happens to you. However, that money will go largely to paying the BBC because you've missed out on the licence fee. Therefore, you're saying to fund the BBC, I'm not going to get a licence, or I got fined and just accidentally funded the BBC. The second point I missed in this original video was you can declare that you don't require a licence. You can do that online. You can say, I don't watch live TV. Please don't investigate me, don't fine me. That really does make it official and a legal way to avoid paying the licence. Now, the third and most important point I missed from this original video is really defining how much the campaign is a scam, because Defund the BBC, if you look on their website, it has rules that are set out, and like I say earlier, and like I said, most people who say Defund the BBC haven't even looked at this website yet. But the website says that you have to cancel your TV licence, which means you have to give up live TV. So what that means is when you turn on your telly and you start watching, that's live TV, stuff that's being broadcast to you. The only exception of stuff you can watch is catch-up TV. So that's why things like ITV Hub and All 4, which sounds like awful, but is actually the Channel 4 version of iPlayer, those are the only things that you can really watch. That and BritBox and a few other things. But as I find out by talking to the people who support the campaign, it's hard to put a figure on it, but I would estimate that 99% of the people who say defund the BBC aren't prepared to give up their TV licences. So, without actually removing funding from the BBC, you are not defunding the BBC. It's pretty straightforward stuff that people just cannot grasp. So to clarify, the Defund the BBC campaign requires you to give up GB News, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, Sky, Now TV, Virgin, other subscription broadcast services like BT and so forth. The Defund website says you can watch Amazon and Netflix, but that is incorrect because Amazon sometimes shows live events such as sports. But what the campaign doesn't tell you is that Netflix has a lot of BBC content on their platform. Therefore, if you have a Netflix subscription but don't even watch any of the BBC shows that they have on their platform, you are still partly funding the BBC through your Netflix subscription, which is the exact opposite of defunding the BBC. So what I'm saying is, essentially, if you are a true supporter of the campaign, you have to give up all of those things. You might as well throw out your massive flat screen TV onto the street outside because you're never going to use it ever again because of this campaign. Now, at this stage, I really need to sum everything up into a conclusion about the Defund the BBC campaign for people watching now who are right-wing, because let's face it, a lot of the people who are attracted to GB News and the audience they want are largely a bit thick, right? Everything I said in this video has kind of proven that point, okay? So I'm going to have to talk in baby language to you now to really get my point across. Very quickly, 30 seconds, okay? If you watch TV with a licence, you're not defunding the BBC. If you watch TV without a licence and you're caught, you're not defunding the BBC. If you simply watch GB News as an act of rebellion, you're not defunding the BBC. You're just watching another channel, okay? If you watch GB News on YouTube or Twitch, then you are defunding the BBC, as long as you drop all other live services, throw your TV out the window, and don't pay for Netflix or Amazon, because they also show live stuff and BBC programmes. So all you're left with is YouTube, essentially, and your anger, okay? And then all you need to do is get yourself to sort of multiply by about 6 million, and that will finally affect the whole way the BBC is run, because they will be losing money. At the moment, it's probably 1 in 100,000 people who follows the BBC's rules. as a guess. It's a very, very small amount. You can shout Defund the BBC as much as you want online, but you're not making a shred of a difference, and you won't be able to make any difference for about 17 years, as I pointed out in this video. Now, Martin Bashir, Prince William and Prince Harry may have something to say about that. They might speed the process up slightly, you know, and there might be some changes to the license fee and the way it's funded, but it will still be funded. So you have to drop your license fee. Stop paying it. Stop doing everything that the fund campaign says you have to do. Basically have no life, no connection to any entertainment, and that is the only way you and millions of other people can defund the BBC. Good luck, because you're going to fucking need it. The fourth out of 5 reasons why GB News fans should be very worried indeed about their forthcoming channel is content worries. You may notice some prominent figures have been overlooked for a slot on GB News, and they are the sort of new era of grifters. People like Darren Grimes, Calvin Robinson and Lawrence Fox. They say a lot of awful stuff on Twitter or YouTube, but they haven't quite made it onto the channel they keep championing, have they? That's because rules are different on YouTube compared to network TV. Over here on YouTube, you can largely say whatever you want about any subject you want with very little pushback indeed. But Darren Grimes' shtick probably wouldn't translate onto network television, where scrutiny is much higher and advertisers would leave the channel if, say, the mask slips slightly about a report about Meghan Markle where it ends up sounding a bit like a Klan rally. I'm not saying Darren specifically would do that, but YouTube is largely like that and you can't deny it. People want, the viewers of GB News want GB News to be like Fox News. They find that attractive, literal pumping out of hate. They like that. But literally, GB News cannot be Fox News because of broadcasting rules in the UK. So the worry is that GB News will end up being watered down entertainment for the gammon. And for many far-right viewers of GB News, they want to hear these extreme views, and anything else simply will not do. So they'll just disappear back onto YouTube. Which leads us to point number 5, the potential advertising boycott of GB News. There's a campaign group called Stop Funding Hate who've already signalled their intention to lobby advertisers who appear alongside the more incendiary programming from GB News. A lot of people have already argued that GB News is being boycotted before it's even begun any broadcasting, which sounds like a point, but it is quite naive when you realise that clearly GB News is modelling themselves as a sort of Fox News type controversial platform. With that in mind, Hope Not Hate have every right to show their intention to lobby advertisers if this channel becomes a little bit too far right and says a few too many things that shouldn't be said on television. As a side note, I find it quite ridiculous that Darren Grimes can support a campaign like Defund the BBC based on not liking the content the BBC produces, but then be up in arms about an identical campaign that dislikes GB News' content. It's almost as if Darren Grimes is a hypocrite. So on the subject of an advertising boycott, if someone like Nigel Farage gets a slot on GB News and leans a little bit too far to the right and maybe a little bit of hate speech comes out, you have to expect some kind of backlash and advertisers running a mile from the station. And without advertisers, you have no GB News. Now, there is plenty of evidence of the GB News format already failing in Britain. Nigel Farage himself was on LBC radio for quite some time, but even with the long period he served there, he was unable to establish his show as an American-style right-wing talk show like Rush Limbaugh's. And that's partly due to the limitations of the British Broadcasting Code. And in the end, he said one too many far-right things and left the station, under pressure from the station's board members worried about how he was damaging their brand. On a separate note, GB News desperately needs to sign a Piers Morgan figure in order to attract loads of viewers to the channel, in order to say controversial remarks and generate headlines, but also do it in a way that doesn't get advertisers to run away scared, okay? Piers Morgan is able to navigate offensive thoughts very cleverly indeed. He's able to push people's buttons without overstepping the mark just enough to be fired or for advertisers to go. However, this hasn't been fully proven yet. This is just theoretical because remember, he did leave GMB, Good Morning Britain, in a huff. He stormed off. He left off his own accord. He cancelled himself, okay? Because the theory is if he stuck around after making all those racist remarks about Meghan Markle, then he would have been fired anyway for his racism, or even worse for ITV, they could have lost massive amounts of advertising revenue due to Piers' continuous racist harassment of Meghan Markle. So he ran away like a pussy instead, whilst pretending he was a real victim here. Clever, clever. Now, the worry for GB News is that without securing the services of Piers Morgan, which financially they are unable to do, they could employ the wrong type of angry gammon instead, who goes over the top, or who gets fired, or, like Piers Morgan and Farage on LBC, runs away with their tail between their legs. If they're forced to leave GB News, then that makes GB News devoid of content, devoid of big attention-grabbing personalities, and a declining viewership as a result. But on top of all of that bad news is an additional worry for all broadcasters, no matter whether they're left, right, or anywhere in between. If your star presenter leaves abruptly, for whatever reason whatsoever, you have to consider the share prices. And in the case of Piers Morgan, ITV loses £200 million in market value as Piers quits Good Morning Britain. So with that in mind, will GB News promise so much, but end up being watered down, toothless, and inoffensive as a network? Will it be a runaway success because their viewers actually don't care if it's biased? We just don't know at this stage. I've raised a few points that shows that maybe they have something to worry about, but please let me know about your thoughts about the forthcoming GB News network. Let me know if you want to hear more about this particular subject, as there's definitely another video I can make about the flawed way GB News is being funded and why they simply cannot afford a figure like Piers Morgan to appear on their network, which is hugely damaging for GB News in my opinion. Please subscribe to potentially see a part 2 of this video, and to watch my Defund the BBC video, and to watch my video about why gammon is not a racist slur, and all the content on my Gammon Box series if you so wish. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Anti-Social Media YouTube channel. Until next time, see you soon.